UN spokesperson updated reporters on an attack in the South Sudan's Yahya state and a string of attacks in North Kivu and Ituri in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the launch of the stabilization strategy for the central region in Mali. Now, the United Nations condemned the attack in South Sudan, which resulted in the killings of 2 aid workers and as well as injured many civilians. Yahya Jammeh has the details in this report.
On February 10th, a nurse with MSF and at least 20 other civilians were killed and several others injured in Agog town when fighting broke out between communities from Twik, Rapid and the Abbey administrative area. On the same day, an aid worker in Mirmir, Unity State, was killed in crossfire during clashes between factions of Sudan People's Liberation Army in opposition and militias affiliated with the government forces. 2 days later, a humanitarian agency vehicle traveling to a health facility came under fire and 3 health workers were seriously injured. On South Sudan, UN Deputy Spokesperson Farhan Haq told reporters on Monday that the humanitarian coordinator at interim there, Meshak Malo, has condemned an attack in Jonglei State in which 2 aid workers were killed on 17th March. He adds that these frequent attacks have temporarily paused its convoy movement in the region.
This is the latest in a series of incidents targeting humanitarian convoys and workers in the country. Following the latest attack, the World Food Programme temporarily paused its convoy movements out of Bor in Jonglei. This corridor is critical to pre-position food ahead of the rainy season when roads are inaccessible. More than 1 million people in Jonglei and Pibor rely on the food aid transported along this route. Mr. Malo called on authorities to urgently improve security and to protect civilians and humanitarian workers and supplies.
Turning to the Democratic Republic of Congo, Haq said that the peacekeeping mission in the country reported that armed groups perpetrated a string of attacks in North Kivu and Ituri overnight on Saturday, triggering population displacement.
In the village of Anguli in North Kivu, suspected ADF members killed at least 10 civilians and abducted 3 others. The same day, in response to the attacks, MONUSCO and the Congolese Defense Forces launched joint patrols along the Beni-Butembo Road and engaged with local authorities and community members in areas where the ADF is present. Since the 6th of March, attacks by the ADF resulted in at least 118 civilian casualties. In Ituri, at least 11 civilians died, including 2 women and 2 children, in simultaneous raids by the armed group Codeco across several villages in Mahagi territory. UN peacekeepers dispatched a patrol towards the village of Ngote to protect the populations fleeing the violence and to support efforts by the National Army to restore stability there.
At least 130 humanitarian workers, mostly South Sudanese, have been killed on duty since the war broke out in 2013. Attacks against unarmed people and aid workers are utterly reprehensible, violate international law and may constitute war crimes. They impede humanitarian work and threaten the lives of thousands of South Sudanese who rely on humanitarian assistance. It is estimated that at least 8.9 million people need humanitarian support this year. Since independence in 2011, South Sudan has been plagued by crises, including a 5-year civil war between President Salva Kiir's loyalists and Vice President Riek Machar's forces, with an estimated 400,000 deaths. Reporting for Eyeafrica News, I am Yahya Jammeh.